Hey, I'm Thaiska. Before we dive in, if you find this video useful, go ahead and subscribe, hit like, and share it with someone who could use this message. I help leaders and teams and individuals get people working better together by applying strength-based leadership. But here's the thing, what I teach in the workplace doesn't stay there. It shows up at home too. Not long ago, my son's teacher pulled me aside and he said, he's respectful, he's intelligent, and everything that I need him to be, except he's moving physically slower than everyone else in the class. Sometimes he's just out of rhythm. And my first instinct was to fix it. Do I take away football? Do I push him harder? Is it just that the school is too rigid for him? All the kind of typical things that we think through as moms when our kids are struggling. But then I caught myself and I said, what if this isn't about fixing? What if it's about seeing him through his strengths? I mapped his top 5 strengths, and his top 5 strengths are individualization, ideation, activator, and input. And that list changed how I approached him. The first thing that I leaned into was his competition, because for him, it shows up as recognition. So I've noticed that my son really thrives when his effort is noticed. So when we were talking about the situation in class, his emotions started to rise and I could hear his voice kind of shaking. But instead of saying, get it together, take a deep breath, pause until you're ready to talk, I said, I love how you slowed down, you breathed, and you explained yourself clearly, because he ended up doing that on his own. When his voice started to break, he paused, took a deep breath, and then he kept going. So for me to tell him, hey, I saw you, he lit up. He felt proud and he felt seen. And that's what it looks like when you speak to someone's strengths. Next was his individualization and input, because for him that shows up as choice. My son loves to have a choice and he loves to have a say. He thrives when he has ownership. So I gave him 2 options the night before. I said, you can either pack up everything tonight, your books, your book bag, your lunchbox, your shoes, and you can set yourself up for success tomorrow morning, or you can wait until the morning and risk being rushed. So he thought about it and he chose the first option. And then the next morning, everything was smooth and calm and we got out of the house on time. That tiny shift from me trying to control the outcome and giving him meaningful choice changed everything. But here's the bigger point. Strengths aren't just about memorizing the right leadership language. It's not about knowing, oh, I'm an achiever, or I'm an individualization, or I have high input. But our strengths are about influence. They're about grace. They're about choosing intentionality again and again and again. And let's be real, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to look at somebody and think about what it is that they need, who they are, and get the right words and the right tone and put all that together when you just want to default to your way of doing things. But is it actually effective to just default to your own way of doing things? How often does that work? How much more frustrated do you get? Does the other person get? How many times do things escalate when they don't need to? When you lead through strengths, whether it's at work or it's at home or even with yourself, people feel seen, they feel trusted, and they feel equipped to do their best. So here's a simple 4-step process that I use and that you can try too. Number 1, map. Spot their strengths. What is it that they naturally bring? Number 2, match. Align your ask with one of those strengths. Number 3, model. Affirm when they use it effectively. Number 4, multiply. Invite them to apply it again and again in a new context. At home, it created a calm morning for me. And when my son was getting ready to get out of the car, I recognized him again. I said, you did a fantastic job this morning getting everything together, getting everything on, and getting out of the house and into the car on time. And when you get into school, you have a choice. I don't know what your options are, how you can choose to get yourself together in school, but why don't you consider taking these same things that you did at home this morning into school so that you can set yourself up for success in the classroom. While at home it created calm and it created a peaceful morning, it can do the same thing at work. It creates stronger alignment, less friction, and more ownership. So here's my challenge to you. What's one strength you could lean into today to smooth out a challenge with your team, with your kids, or even with yourself? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if you're curious about learning more about your own strengths, then put the word strengths in the comments and I'll reach out with next steps. Don't forget, if this was helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video so more people can bet on themselves and lead through strengths. I'm Thaiska, and I help global tech leaders get people working together by applying strengths-based leadership. Remember, bet on yourself, pivot with intention, and lead with strengths.